Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk! So, just as a reminder, Coffee Talk is for theories or conspiracy theories or paranormal things that I find interesting but I don't necessarily believe in. And every once in a while, I do a Coffee Talk on a theory of my own that I find interesting but I don't necessarily believe in. So, this theory kind of came to me after watching the Project Veritas video on the Google Insider and the undercover video footage of the Google executive. And, this Google executive is basically revealing on a hidden camera their determined intention to use their platform to silence the voices of Trump supporters and elevate the voices of anti-Trump supporters in an attempt to change the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. When the undercover Veritas person who was getting them to talk says to them, well, aren't you afraid of the government or something like that? Or the person volunteers it and says, I know the government's going to come down on us, but we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. Now, when somebody is so brazenly cocky, when somebody is so over-the-top confident, I think one of two things. I think either they're mentally daft, they're not right in the head, they don't really get the severity of the situation, and they're living in an alternate reality. Or, especially if they're smart, powerful, and rich, I wonder, what do they know that I don't know? Are they being cocky because they understand that behind me are 5 armed security guards with guns? Are they so cocky because they have a gun in their pocket? If I'm in a conflict with someone and they're so confident and they laugh in my face, either they're retarded because, I'm a big scary guy, or, I said the R word, I'm probably in trouble, or, they know something I don't know. So when I saw that cockiness coming from that Google innovation executive in the Veritas video, I said to myself, this person knows something I don't know. They have some inside information. Why is Google not afraid of the government? Let me tell you, I've known a lot of rich, powerful men, and one of the few things they're actually afraid of is the government. They're all pretty much afraid of the IRS agent, the little can't-be-bought-off bean counter in a skinny tie, and horn rim glasses with the pocket protector. They're afraid of a federal employee with the power they wield. If they're afraid of that, they would be afraid of this congressional inquiry. Why is Google not afraid? Even today, I'm seeing these tech executives admit publicly that they are acting as editors on their forums, and they're giving voice to people they agree with, and they're suppressing voices that they disagree with. And essentially, I'm hearing these people today and at the congressional hearings pretty much calling anyone they disagree with a terrorist. That Google has drawn a line in the sand, Twitter's drawn a line in the sand, and they have decided on the opposite side of the President of the United States, and they are actively working to undermine him. And, this would be one thing if they were just a little small town business. We could just boycott them and quit using them. But see, they're like a utility. It would be like if every phone company got together all at once, all the cell phone companies got together and went, okay, we're not going to let you send texts that say Donald Trump. We're not going to let you have conversations about Alex Jones. We're not going to let you talk about anything we don't like. So stick to the speech that's approved, or you don't get to use your cell phone. How crazy would that be? But that's exactly what we're letting them get away with on these huge platforms, these huge social media platforms. That's a lot of power, but what makes them think the government won't just come right in with a G-men, won't just come right in, shut down their servers, and issue a bunch of warrants and take people out in handcuffs and seize all their records? I mean, they've done it before. Just ask AT&T. They came in and busted them up. AT&T cooperated. But what if they hadn't? They were quite prepared to just bust the door down. This is how the government's always been when dealing with rogue corporations. Why is Google so cocky? Why was this Google executive so just nonchalant about defying the power of the United States government? Didn't make any sense to me. She's either not right in her head, living in an alternate universe, or she knows something we don't know. Don't. It just makes me think about this video game that my son used to play, and the storyline in the story portion of the combat first-person shooter game, which I will not name. You can find it. It's out there. The storyline is that corporations are battling over control of city-states and the globe, and they're engaged in this this war. Was like a world war, but between corporations, and each corporation is funding their own private mercenary army. And, countries don't exist anymore in this futuristic situation. It's not like, one nation against another nation. It's one corporation against another corporation. And in it, the way it got this way in the storyline is that corporations just kept hiring more and more private security until they were hiring their own armies, which was not against the law because they were international. See, when corporations cease being national corporations and become international corporations, they can divest themselves among several nations and never really have to answer to anyone. And they can employ, in certain situations, they can get away with employing these security companies who have really non-civilian weapons, because the people that work there are really just like not civilian minded. I mean, well, you know what a mercenary is. They draw from the greatest fighting men on earth, and then they throw gold at them until they say yes. And so what you end up having is the cream of the crop of a lot of our trained military men going into private security once they leave the government business. Yeah, what if the Google executive is so defiant because they have no intention of complying with any United States mandate, that the U.S. government seems powerless to her? She's not worried about it one bit. She's not concerned that Donald Trump and his Department of Justice might take it personal, even that they're using this giant, essentially public utility to control and to suppress the voice of his supporters. But she didn't seem concerned about that at all. So could it be that the groundwork is already laid out? Could it be that they've already war gamed this out? Could it be that Google doesn't think they have to comply and have no intention of complying, and they're not concerned with whatever methods the United States government might bring against them, because they feel like they're above all that? That's what I got from this woman's statement. So it makes me think about a Tom Clancy novel that I read once that was set in the future. And he wrote this before the internet was really a thing. And in this, he has a company that gets so big, and it's on the internet, that it doesn't really have any actual physical address. They keep all the servers on ships in international waters. And so this corporation is able to act with impunity and not really have to be under the governorship of any one nation or authority. And it gets so big, they declare themselves their own country. And they employ their own shock troops and their own military. And they buy weaponry and all of this stuff. And they start acting as a country, even though the people that are part of their network are just a virtual network. And they're people that live in other countries around the world, but they spend most of their time in this virtual reality. And so therefore they switch their allegiance to this corporation instead of to their nation. And this corporation takes on nation status and starts to be seen as a nation. And, this was a great I think it was Tom Clancy. I think he did those high-tech, futuristic internet series. I can't remember the name of it, but you can find it. Net Force. I think it was called Net Force. But anyway, in those scenarios, the corporation starts to go beyond a corporation and become like a government. Are we looking at a future where companies like Google and Twitter control everything? And they're no longer a corporation. They no longer seek our business, but rather they control us. And we're like their subjects, their serfs. You know, they're like they own us, like we're their slaves, like we just work to support them. I mean, this cockiness coming from them. It makes me pull out the coffee and go, what if? What if they know something we don't know? What do you think? Are we, if we don't do something, are we headed towards a future where corporations can do whatever they want with impunity, and we, the people, have nothing to say about it? I don't know why they don't fear financial loss, to be honest with you, because at least half the country is. I want to just turn off Google, but if you can't tell, I mean, I kind of work for them. You know what I mean? Me and my son want to turn our backs on these corporations, but you know, he works for Uber. So, you know, they've kind of got us. They kind of got us. How far have they war gamed us? Do they have the checkmate? Is it time for the United States to just kick over our queen and say, Uncle? I mean, did they already win? Have they set the cockiness, the sheer confidence of this person? She had no fear whatsoever of the U.S. government. And that puzzles me. It really, really puzzles me. So I'm thinking maybe they got it all war gamed out. Maybe they got it all planned out. Maybe they got a 25 or a 30-year plan. You know, they understand the future of this technology more than we do. They seem to be sitting ready to take on the next level, where the United States government's still trying to figure out how this all works. One of the things that allows these hearings in the Congress and the Senate to kind of always go the way of Google is because and Facebook and all of them, I'm not singling out Google. Like I said, I kind of work for them. Or at least I'm using their platform, you know, to keep in touch with my people and to contact my people. I think this channel would survive if I had to move to another deal. And I know everyone's going to yell, go get this, go get that, go get this kind of backup channel on another format, you know. And I really am putting all my eggs in one basket, because I really do think the government's going to do something about it. I really think the government's going to step in and, you know, kind of throttle these and control these companies like they did the phone company. You know, I just keep going back to the AT&T breakup of Ma Bell and the split up of all the baby bells, and, you know, where they opened up the wireless communication companies and, you know, allowed for competition. And, you know, I just think that that's something that's probably going to happen here, but not if you read that Google executive. She just nonchalantly said the government's coming after us over this, but we don't really care. We're going to do it anyway. Do you think they know something we don't know? Do they have private armies? I guess this is what I'm getting at. Has Google already negotiated a contract? Has Apple already negotiated a contract with foreign mercenaries? Foreign security companies like Blackwater, but based out of, say, Russia or China? Are they going to be able to prevent the feds from coming in and shutting down their servers and seizing all their software because their private security force is stronger? Or maybe they've already moved all this stuff to China. Maybe there's nothing here but empty offices. I just get the feeling that Google executive is one step ahead of us. She knows something we don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments section. And I'm going to stop and drink coffee. Perfect. One swallow left. All right. We'll talk to you next time on Coffee Talk.